Hey everyone. So we'll get started here in a couple minutes. Let me just get to I know people like when I do the recently viewed on the right-hand side so you can see what I've been looking at. And it's not really that hard to see. Uh, Pretty much same focus. A lot of usual suspects here today, but I really want to talk about Netflix to start and who can benefit. But let's give it a couple minutes and we'll let people funnel in and then we'll get started. So let's just give it a minute or two and then we'll kind of go from there. There's a lot to go over. I mean, there's a lot of breakouts today, a ton. And I'll go through them all in a minute. Let me just put this link in a couple different places and then we can begin. So, and put this out. There we go. Got it out at one place, and let me just drop it somewhere else. So, and then we can kind of get started here. Okay. All right, so let's get started. And people funnel in. So for me, the biggest, good morning, G. Hey, Isaac. So AMD, Tesla, good morning. So ton to go over. I'm just going to review this very quickly for those people that are interested. And I'm going to just be blunt. I'm very interested in this because this could have a big move tonight. Okay. Just to get into this, this is a flag. Okay. And you're building a huge flag going into earnings. And then you could have a breakout on that flag. So this has huge potential this evening and something that we have to take into account. Okay. So just consider that for a moment. You need to really watch this stock today and try and get involved. Now by get involved, trade, whether or not you want to hold in the earnings is everyone else's business, right? Like everyone has to make their own decision. But I'd be surprised to see this sell down today. This Squid Game is going to add directly to their bottom line. And they're talking about $900 million in revenue. Now, one play that people are going to see, that people are going to pay attention to, people are going to pay attention to Roku as well. Roku here could wind up trading up and getting up to the 372, 373 level on any kind of earnings news on Netflix. So they're the two that I would focus on that are coming out with earnings today. And, Netflix is coming out with earnings today, I should say, but it's going to move Roku. There's no question about it. So just watch these levels and pay attention. And now I'll start getting into questions and what we want to go over. We'll start with AMD, Tesla. So let's just go through AMD. So AMD has just continually rallied and rocked. Look, getting above this and staying above it was what you needed to do. Okay. Getting above 114.49, that's what you needed to do. You needed to get above that and stay above that. And that's what you're doing. And that's what you need to do. So there's not really a whole heck of a lot more to say there. There really isn't. Like, stay above that and you're golden. Go below that, you don't want to be in it unless you're willing to ride it to the 117.71, which was the breakout of this level. And some people might be willing to do that. What is the actual low of this? 111. So that is possible, right? If you want to hold it for that breakout bar, that's up to you. I think you're going to take out new highs relatively soon. You have earnings coming up very shortly next week. Next week's a huge, huge earnings quarter. Huge. I think it might be the biggest next week. So Tesla to me just looks like it's just going to continue to go. We'll see how it happens with it today. But I would not be surprised to see this, touch 900 or take 900 out today. It gets volatile as the day gets closer to earnings. Some of these days, like if you look at them, sometimes you're bidding up, other times you're selling down right before it viciously. So, viciously selling down and then it goes down. So you just have to really watch. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it, but it does get kind of crazy around the earnings. So just keep that in mind when you're trading that today. I have a position in this. The majority of my position you know, I've owned some for a long time. I'll leave it at that. But the newer positions that I put on, you know, I may just hold the whole thing because I'm up so much in it now from where we got in at. So I may just hold the whole thing going in the earnings, or I might marry a put to some of it or all of it. I haven't decided yet, but we're gonna have to see. So let's just keep going and rolling here. Mara and Hut. So here's the thing. Okay, this is going to come out today, and we don't know when it's going to come out. But this Pro Shares, just look at this for a minute. This BITU or BITO. That's the futures of Bitcoin. That's going to trade today. That's going to get a lot of attention. Okay, it's a way for institutions that couldn't really buy Bitcoin, or frankly don't want to buy Bitcoin. Right? Like people are not interested. There's a group that are interested in owning Bitcoin and trading in Bitcoin and getting away from the currency. And then there's people that just want to trade it to make money. Okay. And those people that want to trade it to make money, they'll buy futures and they'll buy ETFs that are futures because they can liquidate it and they don't need a special bank. They don't need a special brokerage. They don't need a Gemini or a Coinbase or whatever. They can just go and do it themselves. So that demand can push Bitcoin up. Right. Lately, Bitcoin's just been focused and building this flag. That's all it's doing is building a flag under the 8-day and right or above the 8-day and under resistance. So what does that mean for us? Well, that means that these names like Mara, yeah, they can break out. They could really break out and run. Hut, we could break out and run again today. And that could just be forming a huge flag up here. Let me move that out of the way. It was from a day trade yesterday. Get rid of that real quick. But you could just keep going. There's absolutely no reason why you can't keep going. So just consider that. Okay, I like it. I like both of them, but it's all predicated on Bitcoin, G. It's all predicated on Bitcoin. FT, NT, SAM, and Plan. So FT, NT, just caveat, I have a position in this. I've liked this stock for some time. And, this has just been a monster, right? So like if we get rid of all these indicators, let's get rid of all these lines for a moment. Okay. And I should probably just get rid of everything. So if you just look at this run since this cup breakout, right, which is right here. Okay. I mean, that's where you went to. I mean, in 8 months, you're up 138%. Now, what do you have going on here? Another cup. Very similar to the pattern you had here, right? So I think this has massive potential. And, caveat, I put this in the newsletter yesterday, a little cheaper right there, about $7, $8 ago, something like that. I have to look exactly where, but I like it. I like it a lot. And I think it has massive potential. So, any weakness on that, I'd be a buyer. Above this, getting a higher high, I may add to it. So I just think it has huge potential. You're going to have stocks and you're going to have days where these don't just go straight up every day. And that's really what I'm trying to hold out here for one of those days to start adding. We really haven't had them since we started returning, but this was a pretty substantial breakout yesterday. And I would certainly pay attention to it. Out of the names you just gave me. I mean, that one definitely. Samuel Adams. I mean, look, we're waiting for earnings, right? I would not be buying this in the earnings unless you know something. The earnings have been a disaster, right? So I would not be buyer of this in the earnings. I'd be very cautious there. And then the other one was Plan. So, and then you can just kind of see how that goes here, right? 66.72, 66.12. I mean, you went right to the level and you rejected. So, I mean, I could throw these in for us to look at, but is that good? Yeah, that's good. The fact that the 8 days actually getting not flatlining and actually coming into a position, yes, that is good. Does that make me want to run out and buy it? Not particularly, no. So let's just see how that plays out, but it's not something that I'm really just ready to jump in right here. So let's just see how that goes. Negated. It's negated when it takes back over the right shoulder. Give me a chart and I'll show you. When it takes out the right shoulder, it's negated. Okay, KMX. Your calls are expiring in November. All right, so let's take a look at this. Well, first off, you have an earnings that just came out, right? So the driving for you, the big driver for you is going to be the earnings of these companies. Okay, if they start showing better, AN's the first one to come out, right? This one's already, came out here, and now we're waiting for this. This is starting to point up, right? This is really what you want to see for this. And you have earnings to November 4th. So they're going to be your driving forces on earnings now for CarMax. This one quarter's great, the other quarter's not. You need to watch this 138.77 level. I mean, I've had that marked off for some time, and you can see how we're hitting these levels and we're not breaking. Looks like you're getting up to that level again, and you're just simply not breaking. So that's something to consider and something to look at. ASML and TSM. So, TSM's easy. I mean, TSM, we talked about this, right? You buy it when it's down here and nobody wants it. It's been working like a charm. The support and resistance lines, when you know how to draw them properly, you can get a little bit of an edge. Now, ASML, okay. ASML, to me, we had a trade on this. We did fairly well with the trade. We made 56 points. You have earnings coming out, right? And those earnings tomorrow are going to be pretty pivotal for the entire index. So I'm pretty set on holding the, I have a huge position. For me, it's a large position in the trading account for of NVIDIA. And I think NVIDIA is going to benefit greatly from these earnings. Now, I'd like to see it above the 50-day before earnings. That's 810. I'm not so sure that's going to happen. I'm not so sure I'm going to be that fortunate. But that whole sector just looks like it's about ready to explode, right? We bought this in the newsletter at 214. But look at this. Okay. And let's get rid of all annotations. And just look at this. If I get over 50, right, we're gonna head back to here, and that's a big move. So I think semis are actually setting up here to break out. I saw more flow into semis than I saw into software yesterday, which was kind of surprising. And then it's been going back and forth. I like that rotation. When you see rotation like that, it's really good. It's very healthy. So that's where we're at. Let's just keep going. Double bottom in ZM and Chewy. On Chewy, I definitely don't think there is. Let's take a look. Is there a double bottom? Let's get rid of these indicators. Let's get rid of this other data. So for a true double bottom, you need to undercut the previous bottom, right? Okay, we've done that. The next thing you need to do to confirm that the double bottom is in is get above a higher high. Have you done that? Not really. We're going to argue that this might be the higher high. You could say that would be the first step of the higher high, but realistically, right, this peak is your higher high. So that's really what you're looking for. Then you can say that, yes, the double bottom's in. It's done the first part of what it needs to do, okay? But that's all it's done so far. So let's just keep that in mind. All right. Now, that said, let's throw these indicators back in. You're right on the 21-day, and this just happens to be where the 50-day is. So you could break the 66.5 and get through the 21-day and go to the 50, right? And you're still not a confirmed double bottom before that happens, but there's still 14 points there. So that might be a trade still, right? Let's take a look at ZM. So hopefully you followed that. If not, watch it again. We've been short a lot of these names on and off. So let's just remove this and let's get rid of this for a minute, and we'll start all over. And let's get rid of these indicators. Okay, so here we are. It doesn't matter what it is, right? First thing that a double bottom has to do is what? It has to undercut the previous bottom. Did we do that? We did. We did it here. Where's the first higher high? You could argue it's here, right? And then you can kind of see where the other ones are, right? And we know where these levels are here because the earnings were a disaster. Okay. So, and let's zoom in on that. Okay. So now we know where those levels are, right? So we know we have to get over 285 for this to confirm. That's 10 points. It could very well happen. If you got over this wick right here, right? I mean, if you can get over this wick line right here, 275, you probably test 285. That probably does happen. You could see a bounce in these names. It is doable. I'm definitely not going to say that it's not doable. It most certainly is. So definitely keep it in mind. Do I think that they're confirmed? No, they're not confirmed. But this one above the 21 day and the 8 crossing leads me to believe that I have a shot at getting back up to these levels. And then maybe confirming the double bottom. So I hope that's helpful. Amazon. Good morning. Amazon, I've been shying away from because I wasn't a fan of the move, and I'm not a fan of all this resistance. So when this broke out and everybody got all giddy, I passed. When it broke through here, I passed. Well, now you're starting to get my attention because I broke the wedge line and now I'm over a higher high, right? So now I'm kind of confirmed that I might move over to this. So I'm really looking to see if this makes a higher high today, and then it's on a short list for me to put a trade on, right? I may put the trade on if that happens. That's what I'm looking for today out of that. COPX. So, copper miners. I mean, that looks like it's going to rip, right? I usually don't trade this just because of the liquidity. I usually just trade this. So, I mean, it's going to mimic it exactly. But yeah, absolutely, that could work. I mean, that looks great. I always have a hard time buying these when you're breaking out like this, but this could just keep going because it is a commodity, and when commodities start moving, they start moving, right? They don't care, right? It's just all about demand. So, could this work? Absolutely, it absolutely could work. So, something to keep in mind. LC and AMBA, sure. LC. If you don't subscribe to the channel, please subscribe so that you are notified of when new videos come out. So you can get to 36, maybe. So I like this trade, but the trade was here, up to this, not up here now. I'm not that interested. See how all these breakouts, stocks have personalities, right? They trade like the people that trade them. Every time that this breaks out and forms a flag, what happens? Bonk. Right, here you are again, womp womp. So it's not really what you want, right? So I would avoid it. I'd avoid it here until I flip that level. And the other one, where was the other one? AMBA. I like that name. I like that name. I don't like this action, but I'd like to come closer to the 8 day and maybe look at it. I mean, it acted great right off the 137.21, right? You fought that level and then you just broke out of it. And then ever since then, it's been on a tear and it's done exceptionally well. So I like the name a lot. And I think it can work. So let's see how it goes. MBI, BRKS, CTSH. MBI, BRKS, CTSH. Let's get going. Throwing some new symbols at me. So, yeah, I mean, this is insurance on bonds, right? I think they're like a reinsurer. Or they may actually be the insurance policy. I forget. Yeah, I mean, look, that's breaking out. Is it something I want to go near? We can throw in volume. It doesn't really seem like something I'm going to be overly interested in. Right? I break out, I consolidate, I break out, I fall down. Right. I would just be careful here. I'd be really careful here. It's not something I would be rushing into. That's for sure. I'm not saying it can't work, but it's just not something that's on my radar. BRKS. Yeah, it looks like I've been looking at this one for a while. We can get rid of the RSI. Look, there's your level. I mean, 140, 104.84. I've had it marked off for some time, right? From that peak, broke above it. Support becomes what? Resistance. Can't get above it. Can't get above it. Here we are again. Maybe we get above it. If we do, if you get above this 104.84 and close above it, right? You'll go back to this level. You'll go back to 110. There's definitely a trade there. Is that something that you want to be involved with? If you're looking for a trade, maybe. If not, you got to watch this level up here because look at this. Okay. So you have other issues to deal with there. CTSH. So, yeah, I mean, this could work, but all these wicks, see all these wicks that are everywhere? That kind of concerns me. The volume spike's nice. Do you have earnings coming out soon? Yeah. So people are trying to play it into earnings. Look, it can work. I mean, it could work, right? I mean, you broke this, right? And now you're here. So out of the three that you gave me, I like this the most, right? Because you could probably trade up to here, but you're jumping in front of a train because you have earnings coming up. So you just have to realize that. So I just think they're playing with them. If you look at what's going on in the market this morning, we just do this very quickly, but if you look at what's going on in the market this morning, you'll notice that this index is actually bidding up more than the other indexes. Usually when these are bidding up, they're just selling right back down. So it's not something that I'm going to be telling you that you need to be rushing into, right? You can see the Qs are down, right? Like over here, you can see that the IWM is higher than the Qs. And then you just go to the SPY, okay, and then you can see where you're at, right, lined up. So, we're gonna really have to see how this all plays out today. But there's a lot of moving parts going on right now. So to me, we're just gonna have to see how this plays out. But it's not something where I'm, dead set one way or another here. But I would watch the small caps. I'm not really that interested. I see more flow into large cap. I see retail playing small cap right now, but that's not really what I'm interested in. So what do you think about Walmart after upgrade? Target seems like it's always outperformed Walmart. Target always outperforms Walmart because it doesn't have the float. And it's just it's a better name. There's more growth there, right? So let's just remove everything. So I like Target a lot more. I mean, if I had to be in this space, I would buy Target. If I needed exposure and I was doing retail, like a retail fund, yeah, I mean, this is what I would do. But look, you can see it, right? So I like that a lot more than this. I'm not a fan of this. I think it's really hard to trade this. And if you look at it, you really aren't going anywhere. And that's kind of what you do. You really just don't go anywhere. The people that own Walmart, they're just so entrenched in it that it really just doesn't move. You stay in ranges, and every once in a while it'll pop out of the range. But I mean, if you look at where you are from like the March lows to now, it's hardly moved, which is kind of crazy. Versus something like a Target, which is up 2.5 times. So just something to consider. I mean, I look at things like that a lot. Comparative and relative, what's moving. I'd be more interested in Target if you're asking me which one to pick. Hi, Sina. Google. Yeah, in regards to Google, I mean, I expect to see money flow right into it. I mean, we talked about this, right? The time to buy it when it's under the 50-day. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and here we go. Right now, everybody's going to want to run into it and buy the breakout again. And then it'll come down off the breakdown. So is there still potential here? Yeah. I mean, look, this trend line is still there. Yes. This one has become more important. Okay. So that kind of tells you where you're heading, right? You're probably going up to here and then you're rejecting. So there's probably 10%, which is not the end of the world. I mean, that's still a nice move. But the time to buy it for me was down here where you could have made, pretty much twice. But you have to be willing to hold it for a while, right? When you're under the 50-day. Because they just don't reverse right away when they're under there. Net. Yeah, I was looking at net this morning. I'm not so sure it's done. You could have another blow off. What's interesting about this is that, look, see this down here? Okay, let me pull it in the middle of the screen. See this? Okay, something's going on because you don't have any selling. You don't have one down day since October 1st. Okay, you just don't. You don't have one down day since October 1st. And you can see, right, the pattern, and here's your breakout of that level, and then that was it. And then you just started taking off, and then you just kept going. So I don't really see a need to do anything with it. But that said, I think you really need to be very cautious here. And I would be looking at trades. But with this volume kicking in, to me, it's like somebody knows something. And I don't know if it's earnings or there's a rumor of them being acquired. I have no idea what it is, but I don't know if there's a huge short that's trapped trying to get out and that, the street knows it. I don't know, but it's a very powerful move. I'm not so sure it's over. I mean, once again, you're bidding up more than the underlying index. So let's see what happens with it. Twitter, sure. So, I mean, here you are. I mean, I just don't see sense in doing anything with it. I mean, you're just flatlining. Aren't the earnings coming out soon? Yeah. I mean, I don't really see anything. I think their earnings are going to be bad again, but what do I know? I mean, look, I said they were going to be bad last time, right? And then they went up and rallied. But I think they're going to be bad again, personally. And whether or not the stock goes up or down, I have no idea. But, they trade like a media company. For whatever reason, they trade like a media company. Maybe it's all the journalism that's on there. So their growth is based upon that. And for me, that's not something that we're seeing a ton of right now, is it? So let's see how that plays itself out right now. It's not something I would be getting into. mRNA, hey, Melvin. So, just FYI, I have a short position in this. So for me, I'm not crazy about the action this morning. To me, it looks like it's going to wind up going up and breaking out. So you could probably get to this level. I need to see the open, but I don't really like this. So if I get above this little wick right here, 343.41, I'm probably out. Candidly, let me just double check that, 341.55. Yeah, I mean, if I open above that, I might wait to see the close to see if it just kind of shakes me out. But if I see something like that, I'm probably just going to close my short position and just wait to get back in at another time. I don't want to be here while we're going through the 21 day, the 50 day. It's not something I want to be involved with. So, but I would not be going long it. There's too much uncertainty and there's too many names. There's too much that can come out. Like you have the appeals process that's still going on, right? You don't know that they're going to get approved for any more of the boosters. They might not get approved for younger adults and kids. So there's a lot of uncertainty going on out there. So I'd be really cautious now with that name. That's, this was when we traded, got stopped out. Some of us did okay with it. Some of us didn't. Look, it's a real product. I'll start there. Okay. They do have a real product, right? At the same time, you have to understand that this was completely pumped up by social media. And right now we're seeing no action. So you can have a trend line right here, but am I a buyer here? No, not on that. Maybe if I start coming down and then I hold this and then start coming back up, maybe then there might be interest because then you could buy under, using that as your stop. So maybe then that would be of interest. But other than that, no, it's not of interest. Let's see how far behind I am. Pretty far behind. All right, let's go up and let's get to it. Affirm. So what you're seeing here is a break of that. That's what I'm looking for, a break of that level. So, I mean, there's not much more to say. It breaks at the high, I think it can go. AMD. We covered this a little earlier today. Look, as long as you're staying above 114.5, I think you're good. And I think ASML is going to drive the numbers here until next week. And I think AMD's numbers are going to be fairly good because people buy it based upon a couple key issues. So, right, they buy a lot of AMD chips when they can't get NVIDIA chips, apparently. So there is a supply constraint, so that can work. Let's take a look. Is BNTX ready to run again? You know, BNPX looks a lot better than that. I don't know, and I'm just going to be really cautious here with these names. You know, there's a lot going on out there right now. So I'm, you know, can they keep going? Yes. I'm concerned about what we're going to start seeing coming out with some of these names, and what could happen with side effects or government overreach with, you know, there's even a rumor right now. They're talking about forcing them to share their patent so that they can generic these. So there's if something like that happens, they're going to get killed. So there's a lot of uncertainty around these. Like, I don't know that the government can actually do that. I think they might actually be able to. That's going to be a real issue for this whole sector. So I would watch it. The easy money in these names has been made. Can they trade up? Absolutely. Can they go? Yes. Are they going back to highs? I'd be surprised to see any of these names go back to highs anytime soon. Net I covered, Anna. Hopefully you saw. Microsoft, Apple. You know, let's just do this. So to me, Apple, I want to get over this 50-day and, you know, kind of go from there. And that's really where you're at. You know, that's definitely a move I'm looking for. Okay, to get over Apple, to get over that 50-day, get me over that 50-day, and I'd have a real interest. So, just check something here. Okay, so, but yeah, other than that, I'd have a real interest now in regards to Apple, Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft. Look, I have a position in Microsoft Cobra. So I've had a position for a long time, but I added yesterday in the short-term account. I like it. I think it's I think it's going to go. I think it's becoming increasingly clear that, like, look at this. Like, look what's going on here. I mean, this is getting to the point where we're going to head back to this level, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen today, but you're going to head back to this level. And let's just go through something here while we're on the subject. Because if you talk about Apple and Microsoft, if you talk about the index, okay, I'm literally like 1% away or 1.5% away from the S&P being at all-time highs. So Microsoft and Apple are going to benefit greatly from that. CIDM AEHR. So AEHR is very easy for me because we have a position in it in the newsletter, right? Here's where we're in from. We'll probably raise that stop today, but maybe not. I'm trying to stay in this because I think it has massive potential. It's pretty clear to me, based upon the move from earnings, that they completely misjudged the pricing of this. So I'm trying to stay in it. Now from here, I think at a higher high again, it's just going to run. So 22.35. If you take out 22.35, it can go to $25 in a heartbeat, right? I'm surprised you don't see more of that, and maybe you will see more of that, but we're not seeing it this morning, so we're going to have to kind of just see how it plays out. It's going to be an interesting day today. There's a lot of moving parts today, and there's a lot of trades out there today. CIDM, let me go over that one for you. If you can do me a favor, everybody, and just click the like button. So my goal is to get this bigger so we get more ideas, more information, better ideas. So by clicking the like button, I think it gets in front of people that way. I don't really understand the YouTube algorithms. I've got bigger things to worry about besides them, but apparently it helps. So I appreciate it. And please share it. Let other people know to come into it. I think it's pretty valuable to do this every morning. 281, right? You see you're breaking here? You got to get up. and then you have to watch that. Okay. Let's just keep going. Disney, Disney basically came out and said what, right? What did Disney come out and say? Right. They basically came out and said, hey, we're having issues with 10 different movies. We're going to push them out. Yeah, that's not great. They got to figure things out, and they have to go to locations and if you have to go to remote locations to start filming, if you have to follow certain protocols, whatever you have to do, you have a business. You need to start figuring it out and stop saying, oh, it's the pandemic. You're in charge. So you have to figure it out. Other companies have figured it out. So it's not good. And when you start seeing issues like this, where they're starting to blame things, like 18 months in, you can't be blaming the pandemic. We're aware of it. We're aware of how awful it is, right? So now you have to figure out how you're going to fix that. What are you going to do about it for your company? And they have not been able to figure that out, apparently. So looking at this, you're starting to see a lack of confidence in leadership. And when you see things like that, you start seeing institutions get out, right? So I'll give you a clear sign that institutions are getting out of this. See this 50-day moving average? Okay. So if I'll make it even cleaner here. So let's just go here, right? Through, right? Can't close above that 50-day. Okay. What is this? Straight down, coming across. It's an enormous bear flag. This is not something I'd be going near. I think they may have to do some management changes in the company. They're going to have to do something to get people interested again. Other than that, I would avoid it. Hey, Isaiah, you're welcome. ESTC and ZI. Yeah, I mean, you rejected, right? You rejected that level. I wouldn't go near that. ZI's finally through. Maybe it goes. Maybe it goes this time. I mean, for me, you have all these people that are still in this bar, right? So do I really want to buy it there, or do I want to wait an extra $1.50? I know my answer. I want to wait an extra $1.50 before I get involved with it. So that's kind of the way that I would look at that, right? It's not something I'm going to be rushing into here. URA. Yeah, I mean, that's breaking out today. That's the move that you've been looking for, right? So that's exactly the move you've been looking for. That's what you've been waiting for with all these names, right? So this can still go. This could have room today. Okay, and all you're looking for is to get above this level, right? That's really what you're looking for. I mean, you can say it, right? 29.5, right? You can see where we're at. Getting above 29.5. Yeah, absolutely. This could really go today. And it could go big. That could have a huge move coming out of this cup like this. You tried 5 times to break this, and it looks like you may do it this morning. So I would absolutely watch this. So that probably means all that whole space probably looks fairly decent, right? Yeah. So I would watch that whole space today. That looks good. That looks like you can go, Jacob. Yeah, I really don't want to run ads. So thanks, John. I mean, I really don't want to run ads. There's nothing I can really do about the beginning and ending ones, but I don't want them in the middle. So I mean, maybe it goes, maybe it doesn't. It's not something I'm chasing. Could that break out and go? Sure, it could. I'm not going to chase it. Good morning, Cement. It's not a name I'm overly interested in, right? I mean, I've got names that are breaking out all over the place, right? So do I really want to be in something that's not working? And look, there's a lot. Let me just go through this, and I want to go through the rest of these names. But let me just point something out that's going on in the market. And I only have 6 minutes here, so we're going to fly through this, okay? When names are breaking down like this is breaking down today, people are not going to be rushing back into those names. right? So the days of buying these pullbacks that we've been doing for the past 3-4 weeks, that's not working, right? What's working is if they're breaking out, right? So like, see how coin's breaking out again this morning? They're the names that are going to work, right? FTNT, right? See how this is breaking out this morning? They're the names that are going to work. So be really careful buying stuff like this that's broken down and you're trying to trade for the bounce, because they're not going to have the same momentum, especially going into the end of the year. Because going into the end of the year, people are going to want to outperform. Institutions are going to want to outperform going into the end of the year. They're not looking to buy something that's broken down and that might come back, right, in 10 weeks. They need to perform. They have annual bonuses. There's a whole system there, right, that they're worried about, and they need to be a party to it, okay? Snow, caveat, I have a position in this. Believe we have a position in the newsletter too. Looks like I got rid of that data somewhere around there. But look, this is a pretty simple trade. This was my stop. We broke out. We're going. I think you're getting the 359 fairly quickly. I think everybody's going to start looking for the next. Everybody's going to want to be in the next trade. What's the next trade? Right? What's the next trade? Right? It's software. Net. I want the next net. Everybody's thinking that. And how do I know everyone's thinking that? Because that's all. That's where my DMs are blowing up. Right? They're the questions I'm getting. So all this becomes data points. Right? So I think you're getting a 359 level. I think it's very possible. Sophie had a nice day yesterday. Okay. I have no position in it, but yeah, I mean, this volume, this is real, right? I took a position off a break here. I just didn't stay with the trade. I regret it, obviously. I mean, it looks great. Look, you're getting through all these key levels, getting through 21 again, and you're going to wind up going to 23, 24. Getting through 23, 24, you're going to go to 25, 50. They're just going to keep walking you up over and over again, right? And you just have to watch those key levels and know where they're at. But could you buy the 21 break? Absolutely, you could. If this is something you want to be in, you absolutely could do that. I'm leaning very strongly towards large caps because I think large caps are going to run towards the end of the year. But if you see breakouts like this, these might run towards the end of the year. Anything that's breaking out should be the focal point. Anything that's acting weak, just avoid, right? Just go where the money's going, okay? I can't stress that enough. Coin's up 2% today. Mars is essentially flat, right? Go where the money's going, okay? Because you're going to see a lot of chasing towards the end of the year right now. Snap, Riot, hey, buddy. So what I would argue is, look, Snap yesterday, we traded it. Some people did well with it. Other people, you had to keep going back to the well with it. And not a lot of people went back to the well with it, right? So, just keep a look at that. Hold on one second here, please. Give me one moment. So overall, I think that you have to take a look at this and try to understand what you're going to do with it. I have no interest in being long this going into earnings after what I saw yesterday. Yesterday was a complete setup of running this up and then trying to figure out what we were going to do about it. That's not overly appealing to me. So that's something that I would really just avoid. I would really avoid this and let this sort itself out. Now, earnings could run it, right? They could be great. They were great here, right? Everybody thought, and then we all thought Pins was going to have great numbers because of it, right? And then how'd that go? Not very well. But FYI, if Pins gets above the 50-day, you might want to be looking at this. So just for a trade. Snap, look, you're going to have to watch this and you're going to have to watch earnings, okay? People might actually be playing Snap into people might actually be playing Pins, right? Like it's the same move. And I know I'm going off on a tangent. I know I have to wrap this up in a minute, but this is important. So what you see happening with Snap, right? And you see happening with Pins, okay? You could see the same thing happen with Roku tonight, where people want to play Roku so they're not in Netflix, so they have exposure, but not too much exposure, okay? So you could see that today. In regards to Riot, okay, Riot is not one that anybody's looking at. You're seeing volume spikes yesterday. To me, why would I play this when, coin's up 3% right now? Mara, it looks much better technically. So why would I be playing Riot? Because we think Riot's going to play catch up. Maybe it does, but you got to break that level, 3167. Okay. I'm just going to go to the end of this and see what I'm looking at. Okay. I don't know what the news is. I'll read it in a bit. Facebook. So let's do Facebook and BBIG and, hey, Marcel. Yeah, let me just run through these really quick. I'm going to stay for a couple more minutes. Let's do Mina. And then I got to go here. I got a lot going on this morning. I wouldn't go near this with, is this what I'm supposed to be looking at? Mina? Is this it? Is this what I'm doing? I don't know if this is what I'm supposed to be looking at or not. If it is, I would avoid it. I'm not sure what Mina is. Is this some type of new currency that I should know about, that all the cool kids know about? I don't seem to have a symbol on that. So OCGN looks like a breakout. Look, let's go through OCGN and what's going on here. Okay. You're waiting for news. You're waiting for news out of the World Health Organization. You're either going to get it or you're not going to get it. Okay. We sold down. I wouldn't go near it. I don't know if that news came out or not yet. I don't have a position in it right now, so I'm not really paying attention to it. Coin Facebook news. I don't know what it is. And let's just go to Beyond real quick. And then we're going to wrap this up. And again, please like and share this video so we can get in front of more people. I specifically do not run ads on these. So 113.55, maybe. Other than that, I'd avoid this. There's too many better names. And these companies are coming out with their own product, right? So they don't even need their product anymore. So I'd be careful with that. You're welcome, buddy. If that's what I was supposed to be looking at, with the OCGN, just avoid it till you know what the news is. It's not trading right. Facebook, I don't know. I have to read this news. Apparently news came out. If I was short Facebook right now, I'd be concerned, right? That's a move. That's a move. And maybe it's them tying themselves to coin in some way, or I'm not sure. I have to go and read it. I'm just throwing conjecture out there. So MU, yeah, MU looked awful, right? Yeah, I mean, DRAM prices look like they're a disaster. Just avoid that. Like, that's a nasty break, man. It's just nasty. Like, there's no way for me to clean it up. Just avoid that. It's not something you want to be near. Yeah, it is forming a morning star in the weekly, but it's Tuesday, right? So could it form that position, right? Could it form that? Yeah, it could, but today's Tuesday. So we don't know where this bar ends up, right? We have to see where this bar ends up. We can't say that this is a confirmed morning star pattern. Now, if you flip here on the weekly and you close here on the weekly, you have my attention. I agree with you, but you don't know that yet, right? That's what we can just say. So add the names like Roblox. The ad beams. Oh, that's interesting. So Mina is a coin. Yeah. Let me see if Mina USDA. Let me see if I can get that symbol for you really quickly. So is this what I'm supposed to be looking at? Yeah, if that's what I'm supposed to be looking at, just avoid that. Look, these things can go up for any reason, right? So you're going to have to go with your gut on these. I don't know the systems. I don't know the blockchain technology behind them. So I can only give you a technical opinion, and I would avoid that based upon the technicals. That's the best I can do. So I got to get going here, ODFL, and then I got to go. Everyone have a great trading day. Let's all get paid. 304.22. Yeah, I like that. I think that looks good, Laura. Hope things are going well. All right, time for me to go here. Everybody have a great day.